leadership is very stressful. Having to manage a ton of people is a crazy. It's a lot of work, and leaders most times are always under stress, especially during the time of famine in an organization or a
Yep.
company where it
Yep.
seems like this is going wrong, that is going wrong every time. So, how do leaders address this situation now?
Okay. So there's a couple things here, and I've been really looking forward to this conversation because
Mhm.
I feel like I can have a conversation dialogue here that maybe not every other podcast you can have this level of back and forth. So please jump in with me on this.
Mhm.
Um, so here's kind of the basic theory, right? So consider us to be a pyramid or triangle for a moment.
Mhm.
And I fundamentally believe there are four primary components to the human system, if you will. And that's the way I like to look at us as more of a system than just kind of a blob of whatever, all jammed together. And so in those four parts, we deal with physicalness, and we
Mhm.
deal with spiritualness, we deal with emotionality, and we deal with our mental or inner dialogue or whatever it might be, our thoughts and how that is. What I have figured out is that is the process by which we must register safe. Now, I have a theory, and that's what I'm out to kind of prove in my book, that the human system is guided by a safe mechanism.
Mhm.
And in order to do that, we kind of have to walk through that process. And so that may look like, and we don't have to get all that in today because of a few other things, but just some foundational understanding. So the question is, am I physically safe?
Mhm.
You know, and so that would look like, am I safe in context? And that's a yes or no answer. Like you
Yep.
have to be able to answer, am I safe? Yes or no. And if we really look at it, most people would say no for a variety of reasons. Or people would just say, yeah, oh yeah, I'm safe, I'm good, but they're really not, right? So we have to answer, am I physically safe, which is the base and the foundation. Then when it comes to spiritual safety, that is safe in self or safe in the essence of who I am outside of my physical form, right? My identity, my essence, my being. For me, that also couples with my belief in God, and my spiritual connection. So am I safe there? Then we move to the level of, am I emotionally safe? Am I safe in expression? Am I in an environment and around people, and am I joined with people that I'm free to express myself, effectively? And am I regulated enough to express myself appropriately in the environment or in the situation I'm in? We'll come back to that in a few minutes, especially because that's a big one in leadership. And then the top of the pyramid is, am I mentally safe? Am I safe in thought? And so when that answer is no, that broadens it out because we get stuck in this. That's where we begin to reverse this
Mhm.
pyramid, right? And we begin to broaden these things out, and we have to go figure this out, and we have to go think about that, and we have to, no, no, you're good. And we have to go through therapy and all these models and all this stuff. But when we start at the base and we actually can train ourselves to register physically safe, because physicality is the observable truth. Everything else is faith or belief or, pardon my expression, BS, right? Um, so the observable truth exists in the physical world, what you can see and observe every day. There may be something going on in Africa or Europe or whatever else that I'm watching on social media, and I will get anxious or anxiety or whatever around it, when in truth, that has no bearing on my life now. I am still here in my space, physically safe, but I'm disrupting that balance of stuff. And so there's a lot of complexities that we have to deal with in that process. But here's the thing when it comes to leadership. As a leader, if I am not anchored, if I can't kind of anchor myself in safe, meaning I've done the work to be able to be stable, I understand the observable truth of my surroundings, I'm safe with who I am as a leader, as a person, as a human being, and I'm stable and secure there. And I understand expression, I understand my people, what I can express, and where that becomes effective. My dialogue quiets and I become anchored in what I would refer to as truth, right? The observable truth of what's happening. When I get there, something very unique occurs. So if we look at two sides of the equation, if I'm in my head, what I am doing is living in reason, judgment, and doubt. Those are my drivers for all decisions, all observations, all thoughts, all feelings. Well, should we or should I? This, that. I'm second guessing myself. I'm wondering how that's going to land, or am I going to trigger somebody, or is that going to be okay? Well, I need to because I should, and this should happen, and I'm in charge here, and we need to do this way. And dude, I've lived there. I spent 50 years screwing it up so that maybe somebody else doesn't have to. Um, but when we live in our our upper quadrant, when we live in our brain and in our inner dialogue, the only capability we have is to reason our way through things, to judge what's happening around us and ourselves and our thoughts and our feelings, and they are all predicated on some source of doubt. So that's where 99.9% of the population exists. When I am anchored and in alignment, what opens up is wisdom, discernment, ease, understanding, Jesus, right? I mean, that's what that line opens up. And people will experience that in other ways. I'm not saying you have to be, you can experience a space, but when you know something.
Yes.
When that truth is real and you know it, and you're not having to reason it, you're not having to defend it, it's just what it is, then that is a whole different ballgame. And what you're able to do is navigate that environment with experience, with understanding, with, a presence to investigate and discover things. And in the book, I talk about three key traits that I've observed in high performing people that can reliably deliver successful results in their domain. And to look at what was there, three things: a unique level of comfort. And when I say this intentionally to kind of be at conflict. I love it when people are like, "What do you mean? You don't need to be comfortable. You need to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable."
Uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was with CIA and training people to deploy overseas, I used to teach at the beginning of the weeks. I'd be like, "Listen, um, you have to understand when you deploy to a new country and you've never been there before, you have about 2 weeks to wash the stink off of you, right? The Western culture, it's
Yep.
going to take about 2 weeks to assimilate to the environment to where wherever you are, people are like, oh, that's just Jeff. He's the American that walks up and down the street every day to get coffee, right? Or whatever it is. Like, for the environment to kind of accept you and you to accept the environment takes about 2 weeks. And so I evaluated ways of, you may not have 2 weeks. So how do I condense that time? Well, I have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, meaning I have to project an energy that I'm okay. I'm okay being here. I'm okay walking, the back streets of East Africa, because that's just and just project it like, hey, no, I'm technically not supposed to be here, but I am supposed to be here, right? There's a difference in that projection. And so
Yeah.
to achieve that is important. And that's why I say comfort in all conditions, no matter what. I can find comfort. And the way I do that is I am confident, which is the second key, confidence, which I deem as faith in self, faith in my ability, faith in my training, faith in my understanding, faith in God, whatever that might be, right? That's my line of confidence that I'm not manufacturing. It is resident and neat and permanent. Okay. So comfort, then confidence. And those unlock the third piece, which is creativity, the ability to figure it out. I don't need to know all the answers. I don't need to go back and plan and this and that. What I need to do is understand how to flow in the environment at that time and place, read the conditions, and then navigate the conditions appropriately for myself and those around me. And this comes back to showing up on the scene of a two-story single family home, heavy fire showing from the second floor. I'm on the truck crew. I do my 360 walk around. I get back to the front door. My crew's all ready to go. We take the door, go inside. The conditions are now different. They're changing, right? And if I'm not present to the conditions as they change, I'm going to miss something. We may get hurt. We may miss a victim. We may, you know what I mean? We're going to have all kinds of issues that arise. However, if I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, if I'm confident and have faith in all my abilities, and I know I can stay present to navigate this environment, then we will have a successful outcome. The house may burn down, but
Someone
we
is saying.
will but we will be okay,
Mhm.
and or the fire will go out and we will be okay. So that's kind of how we start to bring this together, even in, you know, business every single day, in our lives every single day. Like, and it's, I call it your C3, and it's scalable. Some days it's going to be really low, because
Mhm.
some days we're going to take a hit to that confidence, or we're going to, not be okay because it's a brand new environment that is really uncomfortable and we haven't figured out how to assimilate to that yet. So, it's not like a on or off switch. It's not like a yes or no. It's an awareness to these things and an understanding that those are all physiological characteristic traits because those are all controlled by the nervous system, not your nugget.